Hi, I am Jessie Di Pagio. Now I'm going to discuss the educational values of mathematics within the learning competencies that illustrates the different properties of operations and a set of integers. But before we explore into that, let me discuss first the various properties of operations. And these are: first is closure property, second is commutative property, third is associative property, fourth is identity element, fifth is inverse element, and lastly is the distributive property. So the first one is closure property. So this property states that any two integers that we add, subtract, or multiply, the answer is also an integer. So that is a closure property. The next one is commutative property. This property states that changing the order of the operands does not change the result. Like for example, 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. If we change the order of operands into 3 plus 2, the answer is also 5. So that is commutative property. The next one is associative property. This property indicates the grouping of numbers does not affect the result of addition or multiplication. And the fourth one is identity element identity element. This identity element, the addition and multiplication is being applied. In addition of identity element of addition, the identity element is 0. So any number that we add into the identity element, the answer is integer. Like for example, 1 plus 0, it is equal to 1. So any number that we add the identity element, the answer is also an integer. For multiplication, the identity element is 1. So any number that we multiply into the identity element of multiplication, the answer is also an integer. Like for example, 2 times 1, the answer is 2. So that is the identity element of multiplication. The next one is inverse element. So this refers to the element that when combined with a given element using a particular operation produce the identity element for that operation. Diba? As what I've said in identity element of addition, the identity element is 0. So if we like for example, um 2, the inverse of 2 is negative 2. So 2 plus negative 2, the answer is the identity element of addition, which is 0. Same as in the identity element of multiplication. Like for example, 2 times 1 half. The answer is 1. Diba? So that is the fifth property, which is the inverse element. Now let's move on to the last one, which is distributive property. I know that all of you know this about this property because it's very known. And these properties relate addition and multiplication, stating that multiplication distribute over addition. So yeah. So those are the um 6 properties of operations and a set of integers. Now let's relate this learning competency to the type of educational values. The first value is practical value. So practical value, these properties are fundamental in various mathematical contexts and have practical applications in fields such as computer science. These properties are utilized in algorithms, data structures, and computational techniques. In engineering, they are used in modeling physical systems and solving equations. This can also use in finance, especially when it comes to interest rate and investment, etc. And the second one is the disciplinary value. Mastering these properties of operations and the set of integers is invaluable across the various disciplines. These properties can applied in any field such as computer science and engineering, ensuring the accurate calculations, making them more efficient and easier to understand. When it comes to inverse element, it's easier for them to understand the equations like reciprocals and negative numbers, and also by simplifying the complex expression. And the third one is the cultural value. So, understanding the properties of operation and the set of integers not only enriches mathematical proficiency but also resonates with cultural values and principles across diverse society. These properties reflect on universal concepts of order, symmetry, adaptability, identity, balance, and interconnectedness, which are integral to both mathematical reasoning and cultural expression. Like for example, for closer property, which can reflect to human inclination towards consistency when it comes to the traditions and social norms. For associative property, culturally adaptability is valued as characteristic of resilience and resourcefulness, like reflecting a similar principle to associative property in mathematics. Also in distributive property, which reflects the collaboration in order to achieve the common goals. So that is the third one. The fourth one is social value. Understanding the properties of operation in the set of integers not only enhances mathematical proficiency but also contributes to social cohesion and cooperation. These properties provide valuable frameworks for decision making, problem solving, and collaboration, ultimately fostering a more inclusive and equitable and resilient society. Like inclusion property, if we relate this to the social value, it fosters a sense of predictability and reliability in mathematical calculations, like budgeting from resources. In this way, we can make accurate decisions. Also, in commutative property, if we relate it to social value, to the context is by sharing resources or dividing the task among the members. This fosters a cooperation and harmony. And lastly, if we relate to the identity element, just like a property, if we combine the identity element to other element, it remains unchanged. This property of fosters a respect and contributes to more inclusive and cohesive society. And the last one is the moral value. By understanding the properties of operation and the set of integers, can also promote moral values such as integrity, fairness, cooperation, identity, forgiveness, and responsibility. By incorporating these values into decision making and actions, individuals can contribute to a more ethical and compassionate and harmonious society. For commutative property, if related to moral value, it reflects principle of fairness and impartiality. Just as community property ensures that the outcome remains the same regardless of the order of the actions, individuals encouraged to treat, treat others fairly, impartially, regardless of their circumstances or background. So, those are the educational values of mathematics that I can relate to the learning competencies about illustrating the different properties of operations in the set of integers. So that's all. Thank you.